All right, so if you come across this video, you're probably looking for a We Buy Houses company in Indian Trail, North Carolina. My name is Matthew Manus. I'm the owner of M1 Property Group. I thought I'd put together a quick video just to show the services we provide and maybe show how we might be able to help you out. So if you got a house to sell in Indian Trail, what's our ultimate service? We're basically problem solvers. So what we try to do is give you a quick and easy solution that beats traditional sale models. Our number one goal and service is to make the selling process as easy as possible. So we typically deal with a lot of complex real estate problems that include, properties that need a lot of work, multiple heir situations or inheritance or probate, title issues, unfinanceable properties, and the list kind of goes on and on. At a high level, what is it we're really offering? It's convenience, an easy process, speed, flexibility, no need to make expensive repairs, moving assistance, and no need to even clean the house. So you can literally take what you want and leave the rest. We've actually let people leave houses completely full of furniture, which a lot of people like. On top of that, there's no realtor commissions because we buy direct, and it's basically a for sale by owner transaction. No closing costs. We cover all the buyer seller closing costs. All our closings are with local real estate attorney here in Marsh Law, extremely professional, very reputable. They understand complex real estate issues, especially in comparison to other real estate attorneys in the area. We've worked with Harry for about 5 years now on all our North and South Carolina closings. And on top of that, we can actually hire a mobile notary, so you don't actually have to attend a physical closing. You don't have to worry about trying to get across town and leave work and that sort of thing. We can take a mobile notary, bring them to you at your work, your house, sign the documents, they'll notarize them, and then they'll return them to Harry's office, and then Harry will have everything he needs to perform the closing. So it's really that simple. Here's just a kind of a table that highlights the comparison between our process and then the traditional sale. You can kind of browse these as I'm talking through them, but what I'll do is focus on the traditional sale process since I've already kind of highlighted, some of the benefits from our process. But, in traditional sale, you're going to usually need to make some sort of minimum repairs to get the property ready, market ready. Your realtor usually issue some sort of feedback saying, okay, I think we need to, do paint and some new carpet, maybe do a backsplash to help the selling. You're also going to need to, obviously clean up the property in that process. And not only that, but you also need to likely keep the property clean between showings. So that can be a little difficult sometimes with kids and pets and that sort of thing. So just something to consider with your showings. So, once the listing goes live, you really have to be prepared for showings to take place at any time. So it could, when you have buyers and their schedules, it's not uncommon for them to have to come before work or on lunch hours or even after work. So something to keep in mind. You're going to have 6% realtor commissions. You're going to have closing costs that you need to pay on your end for your attorney. But then also you're going to have to maybe keep into mind or take into account that your buyer may ask for assistance with their closing costs. They might not have the funds to cover the money for their down payment plus the closing costs I'll put together. So just something to consider there. In terms of time, so most retail buyers are going to need mortgage companies, and those can typically take 30 to 45 days to close. Moving assistance, I'd say it's 99% of the time you're not going to have a buyer that's willing to offer any kind of a moving assistance in a traditional sale. And then lastly, with coordination, we'll go above and beyond. I mean, we'll do, no matter how big or small it is, we can pick you up, take you to the closing if you want to attend the closing. We can print off documents if you don't have a printer or a computer. We can be a courier. We can do whatever it takes to try to get everything done. But in a traditional sale, I think more often you're kind of on your own, but you may be able to lean on your realtor to some degree. So cost to sell, I do like to try to educate our sellers on all the costs that can come into play when you're considering a traditional sale model. A lot of sellers only sell maybe a property or two in their lifetimes, maybe. So they're not fully rehearsed on what goes all into the deductions. So there's realtor commissions, 6% of the sale price. You've got closing costs that can be somewhere between 2 to 4% of the sale price. So usually going to be on the higher end of that 4%, closer to 4% if your buyer's requesting a couple $1,000s to help them with their closing cost or their down payment or something like that. Holding costs, and these are going to vary from property to property, but you got things like utilities, insurance, interest, HOA, and landscaping. Those might not be applicable on every property, but might come into play. And then you got your repairs to get the property market ready. So paint, carpet, the backsplash, just getting, in with the trends, I guess, to try to help the house sell as quickly as possible. Then you've got actual repairs that'll creep in when you're under contract. So your buyer gets a home inspection done, inspector finds some issues, and usually the buyer will use that to come up with the repair request. And you'll either need to pay contractors to do that work, or you'll issue a credit for the buyer to be able to perform the work after the closing. And then you got a couple contractual elements left here. So you've got a lot of buyers that are interested in getting a home warranty. So that can be around $500. And then some of the buyers might request that you leave some of the appliances behind. So that can include things like the fridge or the washer and dryer. But that's obviously going to vary from property to property. So as you can see, there's a number of deductions that can take place in terms of the cost to sell. Those costs might be in the range of 12 to 15% of the list price if you're going the traditional selling route. So it is a pretty big chunk to take into account. We get the question, what kind of properties do we buy? So we basically are solving problems, like I've said before. Usually it's complicated issues, and we're basically coming up with tailored solutions for unique situations. So, just kind of going through these really quick. We've got experience with, foreclosure, people that are behind on payments, underwater, major repairs needed, such as, fire damage, water damage, code enforcement violations, inherited properties, probate, multiple error situations. Those are people that are going into retirement, relocation, vacant land, easement issues, unfinanceable properties, liens, judgments, back taxes. So the list kind of goes on and on. But I guess you can see the trend here is that we really focus on properties that have complications. So just kind of wrapping it up, I think you do have to ask yourself if you're willing to wait maybe 3 to 4 months to get, say, 85% of your list price by going the traditional route. By the time you decide to sell, you've got to find a realtor, you got to find contractors. They've actually got to do the work. You've got to get a photographer. You got to get the listing put up. You've got to wait for contracts to come in. You got to make a decision. You got to find a buyer. And then how long is it going to take them to close? It can be 30 to 60 days. So it can literally take 3 to 4 months just by the time you decide you might end up selling the house. So anyway, but with our process, there's no repairs, no commissions, no closing costs. We get quick closings, and then you can basically take what you want and leave the rest. And we actually, offer moving assistance as well. So do appreciate you taking the time to check out the video. We do buy houses and land in Indian Trail, North Carolina. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. You can contact us at 704-727-6161. You can email us at info@m1propertygroup.com. And you can fill out a web form at our site at www.m1propertygroup.com. Again, I do appreciate you taking the time to check out our video.